Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host with the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back yet again in the yard streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, part of Pitts and Sara's wrestling show, where, I almost said the three of us. Name the other person here, Sarah, because I can't. Take no nights off, and spoiled there, but it doesn't matter because, as you can see, I'm not here alone. I'm joined by the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey yo.
Hello.
What's popping?
Sorry, we're streaming on Twitch for the first time, so I was trying to see what was going on, and I got mixed up. So,
hey, you're back.
Yes,
we're on Twitch. All
yeah,
right,
we are.
No Nights Off Pod. Go check it out.
No, I think it's No Nights Off Show.
No Nights Off Show.
That's our name, in case you guys didn't know, because
it's gonna be the name. So
yeah,
we're working on it.
The show name is gonna transition from the Pitts and Sarah's Wrestling Show to No Nights Off. So there you go. That's the soft launch.
We want to do more stuff like, we're actually watching Raw and, our reactions, kind of like what the streamers like Santi and Wheezy Blonde and all those guys, I'm a big follower of them. I know Sarah follows her own too, as well as Wheezy and stuff. So we want to just grow. And we're going to do little stuff like that. Like, for instance, I went live, let's say Tuesday. I went live yesterday with Sara being a wrestler via 2K. We're changing the name. We're changing the. You hate everything about her?
She's so bad. That's not what I would have chosen. But hey, if we're living in your universe, then that's fine.
That's the thing. It's the nonsense. All I can control is your name and winning. Like, I can only do so many things. Also, when it came to the what to look like, you only had like a select few, and I'm just not
but why can't you change like hair color and stuff?
I could. You just gotta be like, hey,
you just had to actually want to do it.
Yeah, I was more invested in the story, Sarah, and what TBD was about, and trying to have you defend your title rather than the looks, because that's your job. You tell me what to do in your looks, because I don't tell a woman how to look. It's not what I do. All right.
Okay.
So, no, but literally, that was so much fun yesterday, Sarah. Like, so I have an idea of taking like clips from the stream yesterday, and then I might do one tomorrow. If I don't do, it'll just be the first clip, and that's going to be part of the 3 count.
Okay.
So we'll do a recap for anyone who didn't tune in into how you're doing in the Nonsense Wrestling Federation world of wrestling, which apparently includes TBD wrestling. Which, what is it? TBD. You got to find out on Thursday. So, but yeah, new stuff coming with that, and new stuff on Raw as well. Kind of. The King of the Ring still going on and still progressing. The Judgment Day is still doing their thing, messing with people they probably shouldn't be messing with. I'm looking at you, fathead. And, we had a main event result that I initially was very upset with, and then watched Raw a second time, like I always do. And I understand why, and don't really. I'm for it. I'm okay that it happened. So, Sarah, enough of me royal rambling. All right, let's hear from the peeps in the chat before we hear what's going on.
Okay. Will you put that up afterwards, please?
Yes, I will. We got Vinny here.
What up?
Jay, I did not see the Tom Brady.
I still haven't seen it. I've seen like lots of clips. I just haven't had the time to watch it yet. But I also thought it was kind of weird. He said that he like regrets doing it now because it like affected his kids or something. And I was like, why would you let your kids watch a roast, Tom? Like, I'm sure that's probably not the truth. I'm sure it was like Giselle heard about the jokes that were made about her or something, and then she like told the kids.
Yeah, she absolutely told the kids, because that's what a vengeful ex does.
That's what I'm
Luckily, I
assuming it
don't.
is, because I can't imagine like he knowing that it was gonna have F words, B words, S words, like D words. Like there's no way he like said, yes, kids, you guys can watch this, but
There's no way. I
yeah.
don't. It's very vengeful.
Yeah.
It's got vengeance written all over it. I can't wait to watch it though. I've seen clips. My girl Nikki Glazer, I love her. She crushed it. I loved her jokes. What? Yeah, Vinny, new shit's happening. Get ready for it. Tell my girlfriend every day to look good for only me. Maybe she should look good for everybody. All right. And Damian Priest roasted Drew McIntyre. He kind of did a little bit. He kind of did. That was a really good promo. Vicky Martinez saying, "Hey guys, Raw was good." So Sarah, what?
Why'd you not let me finish talking? My goodness.
Oh, I thought. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were trying to transition. I'm sorry. I thought you were wrapping.
No, I was saying.
I'm an awful day.
I said it's okay because DM Hunk roasted CM Punk, so that's fine. That's all I was gonna say.
Maybe I was trying to save my king, CM Punk, because I'm a stupid CM Punk fan, according to Drew McIntyre. I'm just stupid. That's what all CM Punk fans are. We're just stupid, Sarah. So how you can talk about DM Hunk while I just bask in my stupidity.
Okay, so Drew McIntyre, as I say, continued his hot streak, and I say hot streak because this man's just on fire. Okay, every single week, he's killing it. So he kicks off Raw to air his grievances once again, which I am here for, because you know what? He's one of those people that even though he's not in the ring, he's not wrestling, he's still so entertaining that like I don't care that he's not in the ring. There's not many people I feel like that can actually pull that off and still make you want to see what they're going to do, because you're like, okay, where's the end game here? What are we going to do? And eventually we're going to get to that point if his injury is a lot longer, I guess, than expected. But we'll see. So he comes out and he's just talking his trash. Obviously, he talks about CM Punk, and he had a couple good lines, like saying how the devil's greatest trick was tricking people into believing that he wasn't real. He said CM Punk's greatest trick was looking like a drug addict but never taking drugs. And I was like, accurate, though. Accurate.
It is pretty good. He does do a good job at it. I'm not gonna lie.
And he also said that he doesn't really understand CM Punk fans, because he says no matter how many times he has broken your trust, you keep coming back. You keep trusting him. You keep supporting him. It's like an abusive relationship. And he says that he doesn't like to talk to stupid people, but if you're a CM Punk fan, you are stupid. And I was like, the people like you at home were just like
fuck you.
Well, I guess I'm just stupid then.
Just slap it on my head.
Like people like me are like, yes, yes, like yes, king. That was me. But then he moves on to addressing Jay, because of course we know that Jay is the one who was put into the King of the Ring tournament in place of him. So he's like, blah, 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 blah. Jay stole my match. Now he is in this tournament instead of me. Damian stole the title from me. Blah, blah, blah. And that is when Damian's music plays.
All right.
Did you notice how many different themes were played that had the opening words of saying something last night or on Raw? Like, New Country Republic.
I knew that was the next one.
All right. Like, just stop. Like, I just want Def Rebel to get better. I want you to get better.
I like that phrasing. That's way better phrase. Get better.
Yeah, just be better.
Their Braun Breaker one's pretty good though. I listened to that today. That's not bad. Their new Braun Breaker one.
Anyway. So Damian comes out and is like, all right, well, if you're going to talk trash, you might as well talk trash to at least one of us that's here. I'm here. He starts off by complimenting Drew, just saying how he has accomplished a lot in his career. He deserves everything. He's a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. But if he wants to start looking for someone to blame about why he lost his title or why he's injured and now not in the King of the Ring tournament, he needs to basically look at himself, because it's him. He should be blaming himself, because instead of winning at WrestleMania, celebrating it with his wife and walking off into the sunset, he got distracted by a one-armed CM Punk, took his eyes off the prize, got in his face, which led to Punk attacking him and hurting his elbow, which then opened the opportunity for Damian to come out and cash in. And he reminds him that this is what you told me to do. You said if I were smart, then I would be cashing in on you. And that's exactly what I did. And so Drew lets him know that he's a paper champion. That's when the crowd is still saying what, and he said, if you agree that he's a paper champion, say what. They all say what. Drew always
that
loves
was
that.
so like, it's just little shit like that he's doing.
Yeah,
It's so good. It's
I
so
think
well done.
so the amount of people, I understand why the what chants are considered annoying. I think that it just depends on the moment of when they're doing it. That would be annoying. Like there's plenty of inappropriate times when they're doing it, like, you know, during the Hall of Fame and someone's talking and you're like chanting it. It's like, that's gross. But in a moment like this, where it's like, yeah, it's kind of annoying because it's like you're just trying to listen to what Drew has to say. It's like, okay, this is what's going to happen because they're doing it because they are supposed to hate him, you know? I like that at least if we're going to interact with it, it's like the way that Drew goes about it. I like it because people were so upset that we were going from that France crowd back to the people chanting what. It's like, okay, well, at least have some fun with it.
They were so mad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But the best part about Drew saying this was Damian coming back and getting on the mic and being like, I'm still champion. And I was like, touche, sir. Touche. So at the end, basically, Damian says all of this. You know, they go back and forth, whatever, and then he says that he will give Damian a title shot Drew a title shot when Drew is able to compete again. So that's basically what the whole reason for this was, other than continuing this feud with CM Punk, who was not there. And so I'm wondering, when is this match going to happen? I mean, I know that we don't know when Drew is going to be able to, you know, when he'll be cleared. But I always was thinking like Damian wasn't going to be a long-term champion. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that he might be champion longer than I expected. But at the same time, it's so hard for me to believe that they're doing a pay-per-view in Scotland and they're not going to have Drew win.
Well, that's not the next one, right? After King of the Ring?
I don't remember.
I don't think it is. So I'm thinking that he's definitely going to have a match at King of the Ring.
Oh no, it is. It's June 15th.
Clash at the Castle is right after King of the Ring.
Yep, June 15th.
Oh, then Damian needs one title defense, so then he make the title defense at King of the Ring, and then Drew will be back. They're saving him for Clash at the Castle. It makes sense why not to have him now, because it's just going to be wear and tear, and he can still be on TV. Like, he's probably not seriously hurt, because then he wouldn't be on TV. He'd be at home.
No, he is hurt. That's legit.
No, I know he's legit hurt, but I'm saying like not like needing surgery or
no, not that, but I'm saying no, he literally is hurt. But this is the thing that's kind of weird, because I'm like, you know, I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan, so it's like I want him to be champion, but then I'm almost worried about it, similar to kind of like the conversation that we've had about Liv being champion. I'm worried that if they did make him champion as quickly as a month from now, that it's not going to be as satisfying. You know what I mean? Because to me, it's not even just that. It's like, are you actually listening?
Yes, because I'm trying to think.
I also wonder if now that they have him locked down for 3 more years, if they're going to play the long game with this. Kind of like what they did with Cody. Like, it's not the same, obviously, because Drew did just win at WrestleMania. But I am curious if they're going to try and play the long game with it. And maybe in Scotland, instead of winning the title, he becomes like the number 1 contender. So it's like he still gets something, you know, like he still walks out as a winner of some sort. I don't know.
Put the belt on. They got to. I have a feeling they're gonna put the belt on him at Clash of the Castle, and what's gonna happen is as he's celebrating and having his moment, and finally forgetting CM Punk, because you're gonna see the evolution of him realizing that he has to forget about CM Punk to capture the gold. And as soon as that happens, what's gonna fucking pop up?
I mean,
And then CM Punk's gonna come out. They're gonna have a face off, and then you gotta get you. Then you essentially have a main event for SummerSlam.
but then also at the same time, well, there's a pay-per-view in July, is there not?
This is a SummerSlam match. Maybe
Anyway,
Punk's
but then
already.
there's also the factor of like what happens with Damian. If Damian loses the title, like where do we go from there? And like, is that fair for Damian to only have like a 2-month reign? You know what I mean? It's like part of me doesn't care only because it's like I want to see Drew win in his home country, but I also like Damian and I feel like he could be a good champion and have a solid run. So it's like I'm kind of torn on how I feel about it, you know? Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just noticed how many comments there were. I saw there was 33.
Well, there's 5 guys. I'm just gonna say this because this dude's asked it like 5,000 times.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. I like if you're talking about the NXT, which I'm gonna talk about. I love the tension there, and it's building up for something nice for metaphor. I'm not commenting on their actual relationship, because NXT's tonight, so promote the brand. But that's just so Sarah.
Well, I was talking about Damian.
Yeah, let's talk Damian.
I already said what I wanted to say. I was waiting for your input.
I don't mind Damian as only having a 2-month reign. I just don't care. I know he's a transition champion, which basically when you think about it, that's kind of Money in the Bank to begin with, is like a transition champ. So if that's the case and we get a 2-month reign, it'd also be a nice change of pace from these long ass title reigns that we're used to. You know what I mean? Like every champion has been like over 100 days or 200 days, and it's like we don't.
Well, and you can do that with the world heavyweight. You can't do that with the WWE title. Like you can have shorter reigns for the world heavyweight, but you can't. Like Cody needs to be a champion for quite a while, otherwise it completely negates the importance. Like, but
there's more that goes with being a WWE champion to world champion, and the world champion. What this really is it means that it's a good start for Damian, and that you view him as a world champion, so that one day when he's actually fighting for the WWE title, undisputed title, whatever you want to call it, you're not like really Damian Priest, you're for it.
But it's also kind of a tricky thing though, because there's a lot of people who do not consider Liv Morgan a women's champion, like that she's like in that sphere. But she had a title reign, and it wasn't super long. It wasn't memorable. So I'm saying it's like it really depends, I think, on the person and how good their reign was, no matter how long or how short it was, because I think that really does change the opinion of people. Because like I can see Liv being a champion, but not everyone feels that way because she did have kind of mediocre title run, and that's not her fault by any means.
It's the booking films,
but yeah, so I think some of it is just kind of like I would be a little concerned about Damian, but I guess it depends on how they go about it. I think that's what it is.
They have to do it well. They have to, and they have a chance to do it well, especially with setting up this matchup, which I was gonna go that. Yeah, with setting up their matchup next, I think with the accepting whenever Drew's ready. I think that's just makes sense. So you're not just throwing someone at Damian and them knowing like, well, he's not gonna win because Drew is.
Well, it also depends, like, because whatever King of the Ring is, they still haven't said anything about it being you getting a number 1 contender spot. They still haven't said that. So but if that's the case too, then when does that person get their title shot? It's not going to be at King of the Ring. They're not going to have them compete in 2 matches in one night. So that's the thing, is then it's like, if after King of the Ring is Clash at the Castle, it's like, are they really going to make it a triple threat? I don't know. They will, and then it'll be a whole thing about how Drew's not going to get cleared, but then he finally gets cleared or something. That could be one way to like hype it up even more, because the Scots are going to be like, I don't get to see our Scottish warrior, and then it's like, no, you do.
That's a really good quote. That's a really good thought, Sarah.
Thanks.
To have it a triple threat, but it's because Drew isn't cleared, so they have to make it a triple threat to guarantee see, that's some like break the fourth wall type shit. I'm a big fan of that, because it makes sense too. Because see, even the Yard of Streams agrees with you there with the balloons.
Mm-hmm.
All right, okay.
Do you want to get to some of those? Is there any comments about what we were talking about?
I mean, what we're talking about,
I saw some of it.
It's kind of there we go. There's one. Damian is much better than Drew. It's like Seth Rollins compared to Roman Reigns. Oh, all right. Well,
I think Jay hates everything that I like.
I just see a comment and I just hit it because it's different. And
well, there's like one guy too who comments on like every single video, and I swear he disagrees with every take I have. Every single thing that I say, he disagrees with. I swear to God. And that's fine, but I just think it's funny. I feel like we don't have common ground like on anything. So it's like, that's just wild, because I'm like, you tend to like a lot of people that I don't, but like we see the same on
there's common ground, because you take the bias aside.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny.
I mean, I love Otis. I love
like
Otis.
Priest better at what?
You
like Drew more than Gunther. I mean, I'm not mad at that.
I can respect
Priest
that.
Priest is not better on the mic, Vinny. Stop it. Stop it right now.
No, Drew is.
I love me some Damian, but let's not get crazy. Okay.
No, Damian's good. He's very comfortable on the mic, which is a nice change of pace from everyone else that you hear on the mic now, where Drew is just he's firing from the hip. That man is just that. It's not even like he's comfortable. He doesn't care who is in front of him. He doesn't care what their agenda is. He's gonna spew his, and you're gonna like it. Like that's what makes him great right now.
Drew is at the best. I think he's doing the best work of his career because of Triple H, the Triple H effect. I think that he is one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Triple H effect. I think that that's going to be something that we're going to be able to explore in like 5 years. Like who, because there's going to be people who don't benefit from it either, the same way that people, didn't under Vince. Like we can say even some of the people who were already released, like those are people who fell victim to Triple H coming in. But I hands down, I would say Drew is one of the people that is like benefiting the most, because he's just unleashed the best version of himself.
I hate to discredit all the work he did in the 3-man band. It was so great.
All right, let's stop it. Okay, so moving on to, we're gonna talk about both Queen of the Ring quarterfinal matches. And I have to say, before we even discuss these matches specifically, I just want to say that this Raw, I think every single match except for the 2 squashes, incredible. Like these were really good matches. And it wasn't just like, oh, let's give them credit because they all put on great matches. It's also like, because they were all minus the 2 squashes and then the Becky match, they all were for the King or Queen of the Ring. And I feel like allowing them to have those types of matches for something like this makes it, again, feel so much more valuable. It makes it feel like they actually want to win King or Queen of the Ring, instead of it just being one of those like random things that they're just getting thrown into. So hats off to all of them, because like Io and Shayna, killer.
That was unbelievable.
And the thing is like Shayna did really good. Like so many people were giving a shout out to her, because I think most people were crediting her for having basically like the best match of her career in a long time.
Oh, I
And
would
that
agree with that.
and that's incredible too, because her and Io are so different in the ring.
Very
Um,
different styles.
but they mesh well. They put on a really good match. I think it had like 2 commercial breaks. Like they each had their own spotlight during the match. Like it was just good from beginning to end.
What I liked about this is that they had the history in NXT,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps in a match like this. With this tournament, I was thinking about this. You see New Japan have the G1, and then AEW replicated that with the Continental Classic. And those felt like wrestling tournaments. They
Mm-hmm.
felt like they meant something.
Yeah.
Where the King of the Ring for a long time just felt like a WWE marketing thing to get another pay per view on. It didn't feel legitimate because the people in it, you just, one, could predict, and two, you didn't love as much as the top guys, so why are you, or as much, not more, but as
Yeah.
much as the top guys. So why are you going to get excited about them winning some bullshit tournament that is going to get just thrown in the trash like the 24/7 title a
Well,
week later? So
and as we
now,
said,
yeah,
a lot of it was like punishment for them in recent years too, like
we got
Sheamus
nothing
and
for it. Yeah,
yeah, King Corbin and whatever. Yeah.
it's nice that it's getting the recognition that it did years ago when guys like Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Owen Hart all won it. It makes it legitimate, so you're invested in it, and giving the matches time. The biggest issue that people have with WWE is that they let the backstage segments and social media do all the storytelling for them, or tell the story right in front of your eyes, where in these matches you can tell a story. You can
Mm-hmm.
tell that Shane has been, trying to find her way ever since before Mania,
Yeah.
and trying to get her way back on top to being who she was before Ronda Rousey. And then you have Io Sky, who's just trying to kind of state that she is the top dog, whether, and she is the queen of the ring, like stuff like that. I'm rambling
Yeah.
here, but
Well, and I like that they're still going with Io, that just because she lost the title and they moved her from SmackDown to Raw, like they're still featuring her as one of the top
yeah.
girls on the roster. I'm glad that they're doing that, because that hasn't always been the case with the women's
Hmm.
champions recently. So, um, yeah, I like it. And again, this is just another thing that I think is happening because Triple H understands. Like, wasn't Triple H King of the Ring?
He was. Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yes, he was. Sorry.
So
There's
I'm like, so it's like he understands like what it can do for somebody, you know what I mean? Like it's
on both
just
sides.
yeah, so I think it's interesting, and it makes me wonder about what else there could be coming during Triple H's run as like the guy, because you know, th- bringing back Survivor Series, War Games, and now it's like King and Queen of the Ring. Like there's these little things that he's doing that are so his era. So it makes you wonder like what else? What's going to be next?
It's
Um
so it's so funny because Triple H obviously won the King of the Ring, but he was also supposed to win it the year of Austin 316, but curtain call.
yeah, well,
Crazy.
Austin 316 said I just kicked your ass. Well, and that's like thank God we have that moment, you know.
It's it's insane. The butterfly effect. Just
Yeah.
it's insane.
So then we see the second quarterfinal match of Raw, anyway, which was Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark, and this was a good match too. Um, Lyra wins after actually countering the Z360, which
I
I was
like
like,
that.
that was like insane. But I also like so far how they're featuring Lyra on the main roster, because they called up quite a few people from NXT, and we've seen over the past, year or two how that doesn't always work out well, but they clearly love them Lyra because she was featured like throughout the entire show. Um I mean, I wonder what they're doing with Zoe, but at least Zoe still puts on a good match, I guess. Like at this point, you can be
I feel
grateful for
bad for
that.
Zoe. We had a comment in here that they said they felt bad for Zoe, and I agree because Zoe Stark was a Triple H gal from NXT, or Shawn Michaels girl, really too.
Yeah.
That was the first really of that weird 2.0 to Black and Gold 2.0 that
Mm-hmm.
got the call up and was with Trish, and you see that rough side where you only see really Rhea Ripley show that aggression,
Mm-hmm.
where like straight up tough, and there is a there is opportunity for Zoe Stark. The problem is when you have someone like Lyra Valkyria who has all the momentum going with her. She is, a little bit of the sidekick, as people said in the comments here, of Becky Lynch. But you need to be the sidekick before you can be the main star. So let it play out because she needs to be Becky's sidekick right now.
I think with Zoe too, she's kind of on the opposite side of Drew McIntyre when I'm talking about the Triple H thing. I don't think it has anything to do with Triple H not believing in her or not thinking that she's good. Like I'm sure I'm almost positive he's actually said the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I think that this is more of a failure to long-term like story tell with her. I think that they
Mm-hmm.
really had no idea what to do with her after Trish left. I feel like that's the thing. If Trish hadn't left right there, or if she only left for a few weeks because obviously, she had
Yeah.
other
Wow.
engagements and then she was beat up. If she had eventually come back, I don't think we would be talking about Zoe in this way. But I think that they had nothing for her after that, which is weird because Triple H comes out here and says, "Oh yeah, like we planned really far in advance. Like we're really trying to tell stories and blah blah blah." And it's like, but that story completely ended after that cage match, basically. Like you didn't do anything after that. And even though it was a story between Becky and Trish that went on probably a lot longer than any of us wanted to see, you don't
Ditto.
have Zoe turn on Trish at the end and then do nothing with it. Like that was unfortunate. So hopefully they'll figure something out for her.
Pairing her with Shayna too. Like I get it, they're both
Yeah.
badass women
But like,
that
come
could
on.
kick my ass in under 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But like that's it, it just I don't I know that she's a badass, but that's it. Give
Yeah.
me more. Give
Yeah.
me more.
So next week we'll see the
Woo!
finals on Raw for the Queen of the Ring tournament, which will be Io Sky versus Lyra Valkyria, and that is going to be a banger.
That
Banger.
one's gonna slap
It's going
like
to be so good.
really good. Oh my
Yeah.
god, like their styles go really well together. Like and oh that I'm very excited. This is gonna just be very high, very fast paced too.
I'm curious because I feel like my initial feeling is that Lyra is going to win just because it's like they don't have to put Io in that spot. You know what I mean? Like she was just women's champion for almost a year. But I don't feel like I'd be mad at either of them winning because it's like Lyra has plenty of time to get to a spot like being
Oh
Queen
yeah.
of the Ring. You know what I mean?
Oh
But
yeah.
would have to look at the SmackDown bracket because I'm like, I honestly have no thoughts on like who I think is going to win Queen of the Ring.
It's Bianca, Tiffany, and then Jade
No,
is versus
Tiffany's. Oh, Tiffany. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but who's the
or is,
fourth?
no, Bianca's facing no, Tiffany is facing. I'm looking this up right now. We need to
I
find
think it's
this.
Tiffany and Bianca are against each other.
I
And then
think it
it's
is too.
Jade and something. So clearly Bianca or Jade is losing because they're not going to put Bianca versus Jade.
You can't. You like,
So,
or could you?
I
You think
mean,
they would? They do like could do you think they could?
I don't think so. Not when they're. Oh, it's Naya. I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, they're gonna put Naya in the finals. Come on. Um,
Because she's not like most
I
girls.
would almost love for her to be Queen of the Ring. I would almost kind of love that for Naya. Like, I feel like that would just make her so much more obnoxious. Because I don't want Tiffany to be Queen of the Ring. I want Tiffany to be Miss Money in the Bank. And did you see that she said on the bump what she would do to the briefcase? Exactly what I said she should do.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I literally said it like the day before. And then she was like, no, I'm going to make it pink and like bedazzle it. And I was like, girl, you're a fan. It's okay.
No,
But
now you put the idea of Nia Jax winning
I kind of
the
want
Queen of
that.
the Ring And I am just picturing some of the best heel work of that girl's career.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I
Like,
feel like
obnoxious
in a
behavior.
way it's almost better, at least right now, based on who is involved. It feels like it would be better for a heel to win King and Queen of the Ring, because I feel like it would be so beneficial to whoever it is to use that in their character to be so much more hateable and obnoxious and just whatever. And Nia would thrive. Like, she's all, and she needs to get that established more on SmackDown, because there are people apparently out there that only watch SmackDown, they don't watch Raw, so they're not going to be super familiar with everything that Nia does and how she was on Raw. Giving her that Queen of the Ring crown, her running around saying that she's the queen, like, come on, that would be, I feel like that's the most ideal situation here.
That does make
I
sense. I do
never
like
thought that I
that.
would ever say anything like that
God, we live in
uh Nia, but Richard says that he wants to see Tiffany as queen and Chelsea as Money in the Bank. I would have ideally wanted to see Chelsea as Money in the Bank.
No, Chelsea is Money in the
I'm
Bank,
sorry,
but not right
I wanted to
now.
see Chelsea as queen. Sorry.
Yeah, Chelsea Green as queen would have been like, that's someone who, if you're not gonna give it to Nia, then you should have given it to Chelsea. Like, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
do think it makes
I think it needs to be Tiffany. The
not
problem is, I think as much as I love Chelsea, we need to see more, I feel like, a serious side of Chelsea, kind of like that match that she had in NXT. We need to see more of that from her to be considered a legitimate threat to the women's champions. You know what I mean? So as like, I feel like she's fitting her spot right now. She would have been incredible as the Queen of the Ring. Like, that would have been the best thing for her, and then they didn't put her in the match. So unless something happens to a girl on SmackDown, they get injured and she needs to get put in there, because who knows, everyone's getting injured every day apparently.
It is bad. The IR is looking
It's
pretty hefty. It's not
yeah.
good.
No, this isn't true. Chelsea's actually really good in the ring.
Yeah,
They just don't
go,
let her
bro.
show that she's really
Bro,
good in the ring.
go look at her Lucha Underground. Go look at her Impact TNA, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, she's
Oh my
more than a
god.
jobber.
Yeah, look at her indie stuff with her husband Matt Cardona. Like,
Yeah.
Hot Mess Chelsea.
She's more than what we've seen so far. She's just, playing her character well at this point.
Triple H knows what he's doing.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so we finally get to see Judgment Day, and Carlito actually committed some generosity on television. I don't know if you saw this. He made a generous donation. He donated his mustache to Dom Mysterio.
Oh, that was nice. I did get extensions.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So he
see
gave
there.
mustache to Dom.
There we go. Look at him just contributing to the Judgment Day.
I know that's how much he's trying to. That's how much she's trying to get into the Judgment Day.
God,
like, he's like, I'm gonna even do this. So he rolls up, and Dom is like, I know you guys don't like him, but like, he's my bestie. And they were like, we don't like him. Okay,
verbatim.
Whatever. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. And he says, okay, well, we have a common enemy. And that's with Rey Mysterio and some others, And now that Dom's out, you might need some extra muscle. And Damien's like,
yeah, that joke didn't hit.
Not interested.
Didn't hit,
bro.
that did not hit.
Not interested.
Read
not
the
interested.
room, man.
Yeah. Oh. So Carlito is still just begging, but it is what it is. But he kind of proves his worth a little bit later when we see AOP versus the Creed Brothers versus the Judgment Day versus New Catch Republic in a number one contenders match for the World Tag Team titles. Solid match, as we know. And I just have to tell you, I love Judgment Day. Okay. But the fact that Finn and JD McDonough were tag team partners.
How happy were you?
I was so happy. I was like, thank you, Dom, for being injured. Thank you, Damien, for being champion so that you couldn't take this moment from me. Because that was just everything I needed and more. Okay. So obviously this was a good match because of everybody involved. Maybe minus AOP because they can't really move
Whoa.
because they're
Whoa.
gigantic.
They serve a purpose.
Yes, but I just mean like as far as like what all the others can do, they cannot do that.
Imagine AOP, just one of them doing a Brutus bomb.
That would be
iconic.
That would literally murder someone on live television.
It would implode the ring. It would implode the ring.
So we see Carlito because JD he pulls Pete Dunne out of the ring. Okay. And then a bunch of chaos happens. Carlito runs in, hits a backstabber
on the
announcer's table, which is just like,
weird
bro,
location.
what are we doing? But I mean, maybe he was like, hey guys, I will sacrifice my body for y'all. Maybe that's what he's saying.
Is it better than the floor? That's the only suggestion I have.
I mean, the floor feels like they've got padding. But he wasn't
thinking.
He was like, he wanted to prove to them that I will do what it takes to help you guys win.
If that's the logic I'm going with.
McDonough then throws Pete Dunne in the ring. Finn Balor hits the coup de grace. And they become the #1 contenders, baby. And I was so happy because I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that.
I was expecting like a New Catch Republic or
actually,
I would have seen like AOP. They would have like tried to
no. But
imagine AOP win that.
I mean, and the thing is like you can't really follow the general recipe for how they book matches because we've seen them put baby faces against baby faces plenty of times, especially with the tag team titles. So it's like you can't even just assume, oh, Judgment Day is going to win because, well, they're the heels and like AOP's not doing anything, so it's them. Like, no. But this was a solid match. I was very excited that there's, at least incorporating the other two parts of Judgment Day that are actually doing something and are healthy to do something. And then we do see the backstage segment where Carlito's back there and he's like, hey, I gave you that muscle. I gave you that muscle, Damien. And Damien's like, you did a great job out there, but like, can you be cool? Because we don't associate with cowards, so you need to get the job done against Rey Mysterio, or no, you can
he said
take your apple and leave, is what he said.
He said, well, out there, that was cool. That was
cool. That was so cool.
Now, can we get his entrance where he eats and spits an apple and then says the phrase and nice Caribbean music plays? It's all I want.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, he is one of the ones that has been a victim of Def Rebel, so we'll have to see. But
you know what cool is?
Yeah.
Like what?
It's like, what if I didn't? And you know what? I'm sorry, Maria. Bye.
Maria doesn't think this is cool.
That's fine.
I think it's very
I don't
cool.
care. She's boring me. How about that?
What's up?
So this was a big part, I would say, of Raw. Maybe one of the more under discussed moments, maybe. I don't know. But we saw the wonderful Lillian Garcia just happened to be in South Carolina. Maybe she lives there. I have no idea. But she was there and she announced the following match, which we will talk about in a second. But this was just like another moment to prove all of the haters wrong, that Samantha is doing an incredible job and everybody except for you thinks so. Like anybody sitting there saying that she's not good, you're like the only person who thinks that, because like the people that matter believe that she's doing a really good job. And the fact that Lillian Garcia, I don't know how this came about, whether she was like, hey, I want to be here and make an appearance. I want to be able to like kind of pass the torch to Samantha on TV. I don't know how it came about. Maybe they contacted her, but the fact that she was there, that's what she did. Like that was a big moment for her.
That was a big moment for Lillian to do that, because now it puts everyone who's fucking said anything against Samantha Irvin can just put in their place. Because Lillian Garcia, next to Fink, is the like old time like wrestling fans are gonna remember Fink, but we grew up with Lillian,
Mm-hmm.
and her singing America the Beautiful before every Mania, her
Yeah.
announcing every match, and like every match, she was Samantha Irvin before Samantha Irvin. And now for Sam to take over that role and and do such a fantastic job, it's so nice. It's so nice to see that others putting others over.
Well, and it's been a long time coming for them to finally find a woman to carry the show, because um they've gone through quite a few. Like the most memorable ones, of course, were Brandy, aka Eden Styles, who
Eden
was a ring
Styles, I
announcer.
remember her.
JoJo was a ring announcer. I actually like JoJo as a ring announcer. I didn't like Brandy, but I don't remember, there was other women too. But they got it right with Samantha.
Kayla Braxton was for a little bit.
I don't remember her as much, but otherwise they've gone with men, and of course that one Matt Rome sounds just like Justin Roberts, and it freaks me out.
Just like Justin Roberts. It does sound like the Dapper Yapper.
It's insane. But I just thought this was another cool moment for Samantha, because she gets a lot of love online. We've talked about her. Like I just got a notification on TikTok that was like a year ago, and it was us talking about Samantha. So
was it really a year ago? And that was pre-Flute when we heard.
That was also before everybody jumped on the Samantha bandwagon. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of been a little bit more recent.
Yeah, we're kind of trendsetters, Sarah. That's what happens.
I know. Oh, do you know Maria Curvin? Because she's telling me, you call me boring, send me the link. Send you the link to what? I'm really confused. What are we talking about? I don't know what's going on.
What we got going on in the chat?
I don't know. Okay. And yes, what was her name? What's her name?
Alicia Taylor.
Alicia Taylor. Okay, that's what I thought. I kept thinking of Alicia Tyler, who is an actress. I kept saying her name.
That's very confusing, yeah.
But yeah, no, that is really cool, which I was kind of surprised about that, simply because I hadn't heard anything about Mike Rome. I don't know if maybe he didn't want to do the travel schedule, or maybe they were like, we want 2 women on the main rosters. Like I hadn't heard anything about them being unhappy with him or why he might have been moved to NXT. But I mean, I think that's pretty cool regardless. Like now there's 2 women.
Yeah, it's better for the brand itself, and Mike Rome too. I wouldn't take it as a negative.
No,
NXT is where you want to be if you if you don't want to do the travel schedule and whatnot. Like it is, and those crowds, damn, like that's the closest thing I can think of, like an indie crowd. Like when I go to the Limitless shows, it isn't big, but goddamn, everybody in that building is feeling it and they're into it. And sometimes that's just as good. Ask the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. He just went on a record saying the same thing. So I like it.
All right, so let's move on to the men's side. So King of the Ring quarterfinals, Gunther versus Kofi Kingston. And I really wanted to see this match end in like 2 seconds. I even tweeted that. I was like, I just want this match to end in 2 seconds. Just let
rude ass
in 2 seconds.
Rude ass.
Yeah, and obviously that's not what happened. And I knew it wasn't going to happen the second that Kofi just attacked him before he even got in the ring. But as much as I hate when anyone gets any sort of offense in against Gunther, the way they had this happen, I'm fine with it, because it felt like the only way anyone can really make a mark in a match against Gunther is by sneak attacking him or catching him when he's not paying attention. You know what I mean? Like I want them to keep doing that kind of stuff. Like we've talked about how I wish that they made Gunther a little bit more untouchable. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to have squash matches, but I would like them to have it be a bit more where he's not ever really dominated in a match. Like there can be guys that, punch and kick him, do whatever, but like I don't want to see, in this it was like Kofi was just dragging him around the ring and like doing whatever he wanted, and it's like I didn't love that. But the way that it started, I was like, okay, this makes sense. And Gunther was just like, F you, and just like taking it to him in this match. And I was like, does he ever put on a bad match?
No. That Boston Crab on the table and then into commercial break was some of the best work I've seen throughout the tournament by anyone, because now that makes it seem like, okay, this is how you make like hardcore wrestling without using weapons. You're utilizing the entire space, ring area. You're putting them on the announcer table, so it's that much more painful. Like, that's the type of thing Gunther can do, that it makes him more extreme, but you don't have to involve weapons, and he's more of a threat because of it.
Yeah. Well, and you can tell that he's trying to use different moves, because the Boston Crab is just like, all of a sudden he's just like loving that. Like, that's what he's doing. But it also makes sense, because it's like, oh, he took out Xavier that way, so let's do it with Kofi as well. So I was pleased with this match. I think it was good. They both, I mean, the match was good for both of them, and I'm very excited about Gunther being in the finals for Raw. And I mean, he's a favorite, I think, for King of the Ring for most people, which I guess he has dealt with his visa issues, so he should be able to go to Saudi. Because that was my immediate thought, was like, okay, he couldn't go last time. Like, can he go this time? But I've been seeing everybody say that it should be fine at this point. So that makes me excited, because then otherwise we would know exactly what happens next week, and that's not fun.
They would have, and they would have. Yes. I don't want to spoil anything. So
yeah. Also, I'm very confused about why Maria is so mad.
I'm just letting it happen, Sarah. You just gotta. She
wants us to send her the link so she can join our stream and talk shit. That's what she wants. I don't really know. That's what she wants.
You're not getting back.
I'm just really confused. You were coming in here.
She starts
saying I was boring, and then I say it to you back, and you're this mad. I'm kind of confused. I'm really.
No, you're not getting into Gorilla. Get out of here.
No, it's just not that serious, girlfriend. Anyway, so later on, after Gunther's match, while he's walking through the back, of course, with Kaiser, who is just like walking through and just like hyping him up, Kaiser takes over the interview that they want to have with Gunther, who is not at all interested. And Kaiser just goes on this long-winded rant against Sheamus and calls him out and challenges him. So I was like, okay. I kind of random, but I feel like this was their way of giving him like the first stepping stone to like pushing him as a solos guy. It's like, okay, let's throw you to Sheamus first, because it makes sense, because that's who Gunther was just against last week. But also Sheamus is like a good, like, he's not a mid-carder, but he's like not like the main event guy he used to be, like when he was world champion. Like, he's somewhere in between that area, you know what I mean? So he's like a good starting point for Kaiser to be taking more seriously outside of him and with Vinci.
Exactly. It's a nice little tune up to get him ready to be his own singles star and go on his own singles path. And with Sheamus too, like, it's the same style. They're gonna knock each other out of the park with it. It's gonna be so good. And I'm at the stage in my wrestling fandom where I just want to see Sheamus. I just want to see Sheamus kick it, like absolutely crush it with matches. I don't care about having a title on him. I don't care about having him in really big money feuds. As long as he's on my television putting on good matches, I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny because it's a criticism that people are saying a lot about WWE, trying to say like that they don't put on good matches. And I'm like, I don't think you guys watch the product. If you're really saying that they're not consistently putting on good matches, like, you are either someone who doesn't watch, or you're like an AEW fan just trying to stir up drama. Because like, if you are someone who actively watches every single week and you still think that there's no good matches, then you have to be someone who's just mad because your favorite lost or your favorite wasn't on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Because otherwise, like, this entire show of Raw, as I said, outside of the Alpha Academy guys matches, all of them were good. So
very good.
Yeah, and it's happening every single week. So
the Becky Dakota match was actually pretty decent, not gonna lie, until obviously DQ, but the DQ makes sense, so you're not mad about it. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
And
And that's
You
what we
got
were just going to talk about it too.
let's just hop right into it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So people have such strong opinions about Becky Lynch, and I just don't even want to get into it right now. But Becky was against Dakota Kai, and of course she came out with her girls of Damage Control, so they were there. And once the match started to get a little too close to ending, they got involved, which made the match end in a DQ, which then also had Lyra come out to help Becky, which she said earlier in the night that she would be there for Becky if Becky ever needed her. But then, of course, we were then graced with the presence of Liv Morgan. So, yeah. But this sparked a debate online because we know that we're getting Liv versus Becky at King and Queen of the Ring. So many people feel like Liv has to win the title at King and Queen of the Ring. I am someone who is saying no, and people don't understand. We've already talked about this. Like, we've already said she can't win the first one. Like, it needs to be pushed out longer.
Yeah.
I feel like another solid month of storyline more, because like she's one of the number one merch sellers for the women. Like, she's clearly
number one.
She's not hated. Like, they need to do something else to get people to like actually react to her winning and Becky losing. You know what I mean? Because it's like you don't want to run into the same issue that she had in her first title run. You don't want to. Yeah. You don't want to have her be champion too early. And like, people like Liv, she's obviously in a different space than she was when she won the title then. But also, she just came back, hasn't had many matches, they had to like flip it and make her a heel because of the unexpected injury to Rhea. So it's like they haven't really completely dove to making her a full-blown like hated heel yet. And I'm hoping that they're not completely like turning their back on the potential storyline with Dominic, because
I was just about to say something about that, because
we haven't seen anything from that for 2 weeks. So I'm like, don't ignore that. You know, like, it would almost be better, I guess, like if they don't pick it up next week, that after she loses at King and Queen of the Ring, have it pick up then. Because then that's like 3 weeks until Clash at the Castle. That would be the perfect time to have it be, 3 weeks of her doing, seeing stuff with her, whatever. And maybe Dominic is the reason why she wins. That would be.
Yeah, you just took everything on everything that I was thinking about. Like, legitimately, you don't have her win now. I totally agree there. And because the good thing is you didn't explain really why. And it's because Becky has Lyra. Well, Liv needs somebody in her corner, and she's still on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, which is all about taking everything away from Rhea Ripley. Take her right-hand man, and you get Dominic in your corner. Now Dominic's helping you because he could spin it. What?
I was gonna say, but Dom does not come out in her corner though.
No, she's teasing him along. That's the build-up. That's the build-up on Raw and whatnot.
He comes out to help her win, but he's not, like, you don't know about it until then. That's my plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, maybe Lyra comes out with Becky. Liv comes out alone. This is my idea. Dominic comes out and helps in some way. Whether it, like, I mean, maybe they kind of don't really have the men put their hands on them, so I don't know how he wins. But I feel like something is going to happen where Dominic comes out and helps. Like, they could do another injury angle where he's injured, but maybe he's better in a month. But you still think he's like in the sling, and he's able to come out and help Liv win, and then they celebrate together, and you're like, oh, like, to me, instant heat on Liv.
Yes,
it has to happen that way.
I'm more for, I want to see her kind of plant the seeds a little bit with like backstage segments on Raw.
Yes,
like little interactions.
Yes,
and then boom, can of worms open it.
Yeah, I
That's
just mean like if it's at Clash of the Castle, I just mean I don't want Dominic to come out with her. I don't want it to be like we
okay.
know that Dominic is working for her. You know
Okay,
what
I'm
I mean?
in.
Like I
I'm into
wanted to
that.
see like we keep seeing these things in the background or whatever, or you're kind of like, oh, what's going on with Liv and Dom? But we don't see it all come to fruition until he comes out at Clash of the Castle to help her win. That's all I mean. That I feel like would be like the automatic way to get her to be so hated, and the easiest way to make Rhea come back and be like the most over baby face besides Becky on Raw. Like that would be sick. I would love that.
No,
I don't know if anyone agrees with me.
it
Um
is
okay, whatever,
it is
girlfriend.
not a work. Yeah, it's not a work.
No,
He's
it's
legit.
real. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
real.
he just doesn't need surgery. He just does
Yeah.
not need surgery.
Um
Yes. Oh, do we gonna? I don't care about because there's not a lot of comments there.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I just banned her.
yeah, I figured. I
Okay.
figured that was happening. I did. Well, I do got to shout out. We got to give a peeps loyal unhinged.
Up?
Is it? Oh, it's not unhinged. But yeah, what's good? How we doing? Good to
What is
see you.
up, sir?
I'm trying to see if there's any comments. Yeah, I Ludwig Kaiser.
I love it.
It's
I really
that's
hope she still does the Giovanni Vinci. I need to hear that.
it is. Yeah, I took a one. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of that one.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
won't see that, so we're just gonna hear Alicia Taylor announce it, probably like Giovanni Vinci, like that's okay. She's probably gonna do the same thing with like Chelsea. So
I have just one question. I think it's the Switch brands should take a break from the main roster, starting not to care. It's not that you're not starting to care, and Sarah and I have talked about this, Kingdom Razor. It's because there's a dip. You were so excited for WrestleMania and WrestleMania season with the Royal Rumble. It's 4 months of buildup essentially. So now you're on the down, like coming up of the roller coaster, and you're not even halfway up yet. It's a really slow build. That's what King of the Ring is. Now what we're doing right now is we're seeing how, kind of where everyone stacks for SummerSlam. Who's the legit people? Who are the people that you're just watching on TV because you want to see them on TV? And who's fighting for a championship? There's no, and it's not that you want to switch brands. If I'm not going to say don't not watch, but like watch what you want to watch. Always listen to us, but watch what you want to watch. And I would say watch NXT right now. There's some good shit going on with Trick Williams and even like the Metaphor. Like in all seriousness, I like the Metaphor.
So do I, and I fell in love with them at Rania. They were so funny.
They're so good, Sarah.
And it's funny because like I didn't like them until after we kept running into them at Wale Mania.
We did run into Metaphor at Wale Mania
a few times. I know, and
yeah.
I'm like, I would have just like, and I made eye contact with like Noam a couple times.
Did he shoot you a smile?
No.
Was he?
But
digging?
I was like, I could have been like, hey, what's up? Like, can I have a picture? But I didn't, But I mean, we were in a chill setting anyway, so
we were very chill. I was dapping up Big E, Dawkins and I, Jordan Grace and I were bantering back and forth.
Yeah,
I saw Gail Kim. I thought I was too drunk. That was at the point of the night where I actually thought I was like, I need to go home. I'm too drunk because I thought I saw Gail Kim, but then it actually was Gail Kim. So I really wasn't that drunk at the end of the time. At the end of the day, which is really nice.
So let's talk about the main event, which was another King of the Ring quarterfinals match, which was Ilya Dragunov, my king, versus Jey Uso. A lot of people went into this match thinking that it was going to be Ilya because Gunther had already won. And so everyone was like, all right, yeah, they're going to want us to see Gunther versus Ilya. They have a long history. They have put on incredible matches in the past. Why wouldn't they give that to us? I felt that way until basically yesterday at some point. There's something hit me where I texted Pat and I was like, Jey Uso's winning. Jey Uso's winning tonight. And he was like, don't be negative. I'm like, I'm not being negative. This is what they're going to do. So, you expected this to be a good match, and it was a good match. And Ilya is just such a beast. Like, I just can't, like, every time I watch him, I am just like, This dude is fighting like the rent is due tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, he was bleeding again. He hit Jay so hard that it like tore his earring, and that's why his ear was bleeding. It's like he is so intense. I love it though. It's like that's like my type of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like,
I love it.
hello,
you froze.
hello.
You froze.
Are you still here?
I was listening, but then you kind of
okay. Hold on once. I'll be right back.
Okay. Salute to Ticket TV and Santi. I love Santi. I've been following him on Twitter, X, whatever we're fucking calling it now. Him and Wheezy, I'm a big fan of. And
okay,
Sarah's back.
Sorry. Anyway, okay. So anyway, so I was saying that yeah, so Ilya fights hard every single time, and of course that's exactly what he did in this match too, which fit the rest of how the night went in all the other quarterfinals matches. Other than the fact that this is just how Ilya wrestles, it just was like, okay, the King of the Ring actually means something to these people, you know. And of course everyone was shocked for the most part that Jey Uso won. And it wasn't even just that Jey Uso won. It's the fact that Jey Uso won after kicking out of the H-bomb, which that pissed me off. And he won clean.
Yeah, I can see the frustration there, but it makes sense from a roster standpoint. Like, Jey Uso was just fighting for the world championship. Of course he's gonna pin Dragunov. And
the thing is I think that it's like, it's such a weird thing because this has become such a weird conversation online about Jay and like, oh, he's not even that good of a wrestler. Like, he's a mid-carder that's only being pushed because the fans react because of his song. And it's like, okay, that's not true. But also when it comes to his wrestling, no one has ever said he was a great wrestler. Like, no one said he's bad, but no one has ever said he's top tier or, you know, like one of the best guys on the roster. No one's ever said that. So I don't know why people all of a sudden are like saying anything negative about him as a wrestler when no one has ever said, oh, he's up there with, like, you know, the best of the best on the roster. He's one of the greatest wrestlers in wrestling right now. No one's ever said that because he's been a tag team guy for 95% of his career. And he's entertaining. So it's like he's entertaining and still puts on solid matches that you're not really sitting there and nitpicking. I think part of it might be, maybe in this instance, what stood out was because he was against somebody who is such a different style of wrestler. And it's like night and day between them, because Ilya is so much more like, I don't know what the words to use, but like, I think you'll get what I mean. It's like he's so much more structured. Like, it's so much more like, I don't know how to describe it, but like Jay just feels more loose, like more fluid. Like, he just does, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there's just a way that you kind of, it's like more relaxed, where I feel like that's not like the European style. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. No.
So they don't always mesh well, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Jay is bad. So I think that people are like mistaking that, because like, you don't really say that about guys that are in matches with Gunther because they don't wrestle like Gunther. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
I think that that's coming out of nowhere. I mean, I'm not like a big Jey Uso fan, but I wasn't sitting there being like, he sucks, this shouldn't have happened, like, because he's so bad. I was just more upset about how like this was like your decision to have Ilya lose his only second match on the main roster. That was what bothered me. And then, of course, you get into a reality check where you're like, they're not going to want to give you Gunther versus Ilya on a random Raw.
And that's the realization I had to have.
Yeah. And I
had
think,
to have it.
I think that's what that's what happens, I think, with everybody, because you immediately have knee-jerk reactions. You react emotionally in the moment. Kind of like what I think we always use this example of Cody losing at Mania 39. Everyone hated it. They wanted to revolt and tear the whole company down. They wanted Triple H fired, like everything. And then a year later, He wins the
He's
title,
like,
and everything that happened up until that point, you were like, okay, him losing at Mania 39 was worth
so
it,
much
you
sense.
know? So it feels like, okay, hopefully in hindsight, this is going to be a moment where, okay, that's fine. But then at this, like because of what they do with Ilya, but then at the same time, you have to remember Ilya wasn't going to win King of the Ring. So
No.
like he was either losing to Jey Uso or probably losing to Gunther in a week anyway. So I guess you got to kind of pick and choose your battles here.
You do. And that's the realization I had to have, that after watching Raw again and seeing the stare down they had when Ilya was giving
Mm-hmm.
the backstage interview, that this is not something you just throw together in King of the Ring and then
Yeah.
hope their paths cross once again. Like, no, these are seeds being planted. We're gonna water them. We're gonna get some sunlight on it. Like we're gonna take care of this motherfucker.
Well, and also, Gunther did post that picture of them looking at each other when Gunther came out after the match, because now we know that the finals next week will be Gunther versus Jey Uso. So we posted that picture of him looking at Ilya, and he said like soon or later, whatever he said, So he's teasing it as well. But I think we talk about this too, about how there's not always a lot of overlap between the people who watch Raw and SmackDown and the people who watch NXT. It isn't always the same crowd. So it's probably more likely that people don't know. A majority of people do not know about the history between Gunther and Ilya for them to care about,
Mhm.
him winning, and Ilya should have beaten Jay and gone against Gunther. Well, they're not going to be as excited about that because they don't know, first of all, what they've missed. So they don't have any expectations of what that could be if they had a match. So I think this is fine. I don't care about Gunther versus Jey Uso as long as Gunther wins, because I don't think Jey Uso needs to be King of the Ring. So
No, he doesn't. And people forget Jey Uso wasn't even supposed to be in King of the Ring. So
exactly.
if he is going to win it, that makes no sense whatsoever. So this tournament was made for Gunther to win. That has been my mindset going into this. I don't
hope
care. Because who on SmackDown is going to beat him? Like, seriously.
who I don't even know who's on SmackDown, honestly.
I'm going to
who's on the SmackDown bracket?
Yeah, I'm going to it right
Randy.
now. It's LA Knight versus Tama Tonga.
Okay.
So I don't even know what's going on.
That's rough. Yeah.
I really don't know who's going to get over.
Who are the others?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to find the bracket.
It's Randy and somebody.
Randy and somebody. All right. Why are you being difficult? Why can I not find this effing thing? Also, my search bar being Yahoo makes no sense. All right. I'm really annoyed by that. And I try to make Google my default browser, and it didn't happen.
Why is Jay? Oh, it's Randy versus Carmelo, since you are inept.
Ooh. I typed in King of the Ring bracket and it didn't come up.
That's not good enough. I don't know how
Apparently
it's obvious that Jay is winning. I don't know how that's obvious.
Really?
I think we have to think about it too, because like Drew was supposed to be in that spot. Do we really see that Drew is going to fight for King of the Ring? I don't know. To me, it makes sense for Gunther to win, because then he can go into Bash at Berlin as King of the Ring, and it also is like they could, I don't know what this is. The thing is, like, it complicates so many things, because if it is going to be, if you win King or Queen of the Ring, that you become a number one contender, or you get a title match or whatever, which they have not said. So I'm saying, like, if that is something that is all of a sudden introduced, then I feel like it throws such a wrench into everything with the world heavyweight title right now. Because, okay, well, you want to see Drew win at Clash at the Castle against Damian, but then it's like 2 months later, Drew is then supposed to face Gunther at Bash at Berlin and lose. It makes
no sense.
You know what I mean? So it's like it throws a wrench into it. So if I can just have Gunther win King of the Ring, and if that's all he gets, then okay, because then he could still use that in a pompous way of being like, I'm the King of the Ring, whatever. But otherwise, I think getting the number one titles match like that, or contender becoming a number one contender complicates things. I just don't see it being. I don't see Jay beating Gunther either. Like I just don't. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't see him.
They're saying they're setting up Gunther versus Ilya by having both lose to Jay. I don't know. I'm not sure. Christopher says if Jay was going to win King of the Ring, he would have been in the original field and not an alternate.
Chris knows ball. Chris knows ball.
Yeah, because to me it's like they put him in because Drew wasn't gonna win. Drew wasn't gonna win, so throwing in another guy who isn't gonna win. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of tricky. You know, like maybe it's LA Knight that wins. I don't know, but
King Yeet.
No.
I don't want that.
No.
I don't need that.
But anyway, that was Raw. So if you want to if there are any more comments you want to get to, feel free.
What about the winner of the tournament gets the 30 pick in the Royal Rumble?
That's kind of a cool. I kind of like that, but it's just that the Royal Rumble is quite
too far away.
Yeah,
I like that idea, except the timing.
Yeah, because it's like 8 months away. Yeah, it's just like they haven't said anything. They introduced the crowns, so you now know, okay, if you win, you're getting this crown. But they haven't said anything about like it having more meaning than just having the label for a year if they do King and Queen of the Ring next year. They haven't said, oh, they become a number one contender, they get a title shot, they get to do this, they get to do that. And I really wouldn't be surprised if that's not something that they do, because Money in the Bank is in July. So like then you're gonna have two people that are like number one contenders or like can take a shot at the title at any time. Like it just seems weird. But then at the same time, what's the point of winning King and Queen of the Ring if you get nothing but a crown? Like, okay, you know, like it's kind of weird. Jimmy's hurt though.
He is hurt for some significant.
So I don't know if Jimmy's gonna return. I mean, that would be pretty cool though.
That would be nice, but I don't.
But then we're gonna say, but who would then Jay being King of the Ring? I don't know. I don't.
He's not. I'm not. No.
I'm leaving that door open. I don't love it, but I just like how I prepared myself for Jay to beat Ilya. I'm prepared for Jay to beat Gunther, even though I would fucking hate it. I would hate seeing Jay beat Ilya and then a week later beat Gunther. Like,
it would be.
Because that would also look so bad for Gunther. Like it took everything for Sammy to beat him at Mania. And then you're going to say in a match that doesn't really mean anything, Jay is able to beat him clean.
Exactly. That's why it doesn't make sense. Why it does not make sense for him to be King of the Ring. I'm telling you right now.
I don't know. I'm just trying to prepare for everything because I just don't want to be disappointed, you know? Like I don't want my feelings to be hurt.
Very fair. Very fair and valid.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vinny. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Really means a lot. And you know, you saw a little bit of the tease of the no nights off.
Jay, I want to see me sad.
It's you know, you got a rival.
My pain brings him enjoyment.
Yeah, that's we're a lovely bunch here. Yes, thank you guys for tuning in because it really means a lot. And yeah, it's a fun time in Wrestling King of the Ring. It's in 2 weeks. We have SmackDown on Friday. We have NXT going on right now, which apparently Sol Ruka is just crushing it. That Soul Shaker or Soul something, Soul Snatcher, I think it's called. Her finishing move is probably one of the best things I've ever seen. So go check that out. Dynamite's on tomorrow. Let's go. And then we're back on Thursday for the just hodgepodge melting pot wrestling show, Pits and Sara's wrestling show.
On Thursday, right? You said
Thursday, 7:00.
Okay, I was gonna say
no nights
tomorrow,
off.
So
yeah, no, I can't either.
Schedule released.
Oh, my nephew's got a baseball game. And
yeah, I have the schedule release, so I have to work late.
I promised my nephew I would go to his baseball game, so I'm gonna do that, like a good uncle should.
Oh,
so we'll be back on Thursday for all that and see how Sara is doing in the TBD nonsense wrestling world. All right, like you're not gonna want to miss it because Sara's crushing it. She's champion. Spoiler alert. All right, she's a champion, and she lets you know it and shows you that she's not only just a champion but a fighting champion. putting people through tables and shit, Sarah. Oh, can't wait to see the highlights on Thursday. And I hope you can't either. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember, you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you Thursday.